So adding and subtracting numbers like 9 or 19 or 29, or conceivably we might talk about adding and subtracting numbers like 11 or 21 or 31, or so on as well. But let's start with 9, 19 and 29. Can be a little bit confusing sometimes, but if we look at this example, we'll talk about it and we'll hopefully end up um, this video being able to get it right 10 times out of 10. Let's start with this example, 13 add 9. 13 add 9. And what you'll have talked about at school, I would imagine, is the fact that 9 is very nearly 10, isn't it? In fact, it's just one less than 10. So one really good way of adding 9 to a number is to add 10 and then take away 1. So 13 plus 9 we can actually write as 13 add 10 and take away 1. Um, and hopefully you can add 10 to 13. You know that it's 23, and 23, so 13 out of 10 is 23, and 23 minus 1 gives us 22, an answer of 22. And I would imagine that that's something you could probably do quite well already, but I want to show it to you on a number line, because I think that will be helpful to you later on when you're adding slightly bigger numbers. Because I love number lines. I think they're great because you can write them down like I've written down here, or you can imagine them in your head as well. Number lines are things you can imagine in your head quite well. Or I can, and I hope you can too. And the great thing about number lines that you write down or you imagine in your head is that they can have any numbers on them that you like. Here I've just got a number line with 13 on it, but you could have had a number line with -6 or 2,342,912. Number lines are great because you can write them down with any number. So here's a number line with 13 on it, and we want to add 9 to that. So I'm going to add 10 and take away 1 on my number line. I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do a little arc like that, and write add 10. And if I do 13 add 10, where do I get to on my number line? Dead right, you get to 23, don't you? And then, because I'm adding 9, not 10, I'm going to take one away from that, aren't I? So I'll write -1 there, and 23 minus 1 is 22. And if it looks to you like the 22 is too far away from the 23, it doesn't matter, because it's my number line and I can write it how I like, as long as I know that 1 less than 23 is indeed 22, which it is. And that's easy. So let's do a few more and show our answers on number lines, and show how we do it on number lines. Here's another one. Let's do 25 plus 29. Well, 29 is nearly 30, isn't it? So 25 add 29, instead we could say it's 25 plus 30 minus 1, because 29 is 1 less than 30. Okay, let's do our number line again. Here's my magic number line, and here's my magic 25. Let's start with 25. So we're going to add 30 and then take away 1. You might not like adding 30 in one go. You might like to count up in tens. How many tens make 30? Well, let's think. 10 plus 10 is 20, and 20 plus 10 is 30. So let's go up in tens from 25. 25 plus 10 is 35. 35 plus 10 is 45. That's 20 we've added. And another 10 makes 30. And 45 add 10 is 55. So we've added 30, and now we want to take away 1. There we go. We'll take away 1. What's 55 take away 1? That's right, it's 54. So there's your answer. 25 plus 29 is 54. If we do another one, slightly bigger numbers. Let's do some hundreds. So 357 add 39 this time. Well, 39 is almost 40, isn't it? So let's say that that's 350, same as 357 plus 40 minus 1. Because 39 is 1 less than 40. Here's my number line. Wow, look, it's just a line on the board. And look, it's magic, because there's number 357. And I'm getting bigger again. I'm adding 40 and I'm taking away 1. If you don't mind me doing this, I'm going to be brave this time. I'm going to go up in 40 in one jump. If you want to count up in tens, that's fine, you can. You can go add 10, add 20, add 30, add 40. But I'm going to be brave and I'm going to go up in 40 in one jump, because I can do 357 plus 40, because I know that the 5 is my tens, and I can do 5 tens, add 4 tens to make 9 tens. So I know that adding 40 to that number gives me 397. I repeat, if you can't do that in one go, just go up in tens. Add 10 to get 367. Add 10 again to get 377, 377. Add 10 again to get 387. And add 10 again. Hey, there we go, 397. We've added 40, we take away 1, 397, take away 1, 396. That's all pretty okay, isn't it? It just sometimes gets a little bit harder when you have to cross over the hundreds boundary. Like in this question here, 468, add 49, add 49. 49 is 1 less than 50, isn't it? So if we do 468, add 50, take away 1, that'll do nicely for us, won't it? Here's my number line. Here's 468, as if by magic. Now we want to add 50, don't we? How are you going to do this? Well, you could try and do it all in one jump, couldn't you? And possibly you can do that. Maybe you can do 468 plus 50. You could write it down, couldn't you? 468, add 50, like that. And do 8 plus 0 in the units, and 6 tens and 5 tens is 11, so 1 there, carry the 1, and 4 tens on top, and plus my remainder of 1 from earlier is 5, and gives me an answer of 518. But actually, sometimes it's good to be able to try and do these things in your head. Now, if you can do 468 plus 50 and get to 518 in your head, that's fantastic. But let's look at it. If you can't, what's the way you could do it? Well, you could go up in tens again, couldn't you? That might make it easier for you. Because crossing over from 400s into 500s can be a bit confusing. So let's look at it. 460 add 10 is 478. Add 10 again, 488. That's 20, isn't it? Add 10 again, it's 498. Add 10 again, it's 508. And add 10 a fifth time, that's 10, and 10, 3 tens, 4 tens, and 5 tens makes 50. And that does get us to 518. And then we take away our 1 again, and we get 517. There's our answer. Okay, so if you're crossing over the hundreds boundary, and maybe you could do it by counting up in tens. Here's another way you might think of it. Another way you might do it. You can break the 50 into whatever you like, but maybe you might think of going up 30 to 498. That's plus 30, and then you can go above the hundreds boundary into the 500s 10 at a time, so that you don't get confused. So you could add 30 and then 10 and then 10 more to make 50. Get you to 518. However you do it's up to you, but just be aware that there's more than one way to add these numbers on, and you can do it whichever way you feel comfortable, but there are some suggestions. The important thing to understand is that numbers like 39 and 19 and 49, like we have here, are 1 less than 20 or 40 or 10, or in this case 50. So you can add 49 by adding 50 and then taking away 1. I said we'd also do some subtracting, didn't I? So let's take away some of these numbers. Let's start with a question like 23 minus 9, because here you can sometimes get a bit of a muddle here, and we'll talk about where you can get muddled sometimes when we do this, but we'll do it on a number line again. 23 take away 9. Well, 9 is 1 less than 10, isn't it? So it's the same as 23. 23 minus 9 is the same as 23 take away 10, but then 9 is 1 less than 10, so we have to add 1, wouldn't we? Because if you take 10 away, you've taken away more than you want to take away if you've taken away 9. So you take away 10 and then add 1. In this case, it's kind of like the other way round. On the previous question, we added the big number and then took away 1 to adjust. Here, when we're taking away the big number, at the end we then just add 1 when we're taking away 9. 23 take away 10 plus 1. Can you do 23 take away 10 in your head? You ought to be able to by now. Here's 23 on my number line. Let's go back 10 from there. If we go back 10 from 23, where do we get to? We get to 13, don't we? And then we add 1, and that gets us to 14. So 23 take away 9 is 14. We've taken away 10 and added 1 to get our answer. Do another one with slightly bigger numbers. 75 minus 29. 29 is almost 30, isn't it? So if we do 75 take away 30, we'll then add 1 to make it 29 that we've taken away rather than 30. Here's the number line. Here's 75. Let's take away 30. What's 7 tens? Take away 3 tens. Well, 7 take away 3 is 4, isn't it? So 70 take away 30 must be 40. So 75 take away 10 must be 45. And then we'll add 1, get our answer of 46. And there it is. Gets quite easy, doesn't it, after a while? Let's do one that crosses over the hundreds boundary. 123 minus 39. Again, 39 is almost 40, isn't it? So let's do 123 minus 40 and plus 1. 123. Can you take away 40 from 123 in one go? If you can, you go ahead and do that. That'd be fantastic. And well done to you. If you're not so sure, let's do it in jumps, shall we? You know what I'm going to do here? I'm not quite comfortable going across the hundreds boundary, so I'm going to do 123, take away 20, because I know I can take 20 away from this, because 120 take away 20 is 100, isn't it? So that will give me 103. Now taking away 20, clear a bit of space here. Taking away 20, how much more do I want to take away? If I want to take away 40 altogether, well, I've got to take away 20 more, haven't I? Because 20 and 20 is 40. Shall I go down 10 at a time? Take away 10 from 103, gets me to 93. And 10 again, 93, take away 10, easy peasy, right? 83. I've taken away 40, now add 1, 83 add 1, 84. There's my answer. Again, I think the hardest thing there is the crossing the tens boundary, or the hundreds boundary rather. And I think that's something you can do as long as you manage it carefully. We also talked about adding and subtracting 11 or 21 or 31, and it's very, very similar, isn't it? Here's a question, 38 plus 21. Because 21, whereas 19 is 1 less than 20, 21 is 1 more than 20. So adding 21, we could add 20 and then add 1, couldn't we? So here's 38. 38 add 20 is 38, 48, 58. 58 plus 1, 59. Easy peasy. Let's do one crossing over the hundreds boundary. Let's do 192 plus 31. 31 is 1 more than 30, so we'll do 192 plus 30 plus 1. Here's my number line, 192. I hope you like my beautiful lines. 192. I'm going to just cross over the hundreds boundary by adding 10, because I'm not very confident with that still. So I'm just going to add 10 to 192. 8 gets me to 200, so 2 more gets me to 202. And then 202, add 20 more, because 10 and 20 makes 30, doesn't it? So add 20 to that makes 222. Then add 1 more, 223. Okay, how about taking away numbers like this? How about this one? 96 minus 31. Well, 31 is 1 more than 30. So if we take away 30, we'd have to take away 1 more to take away 31, wouldn't we? So this is like 96 take away 30, take away 1. Okay, 96 take away 30. 90 take away 30, 60, right? So this is 66. And then take away 1 more to make it a total of 31 that you've taken away. Makes 65 is our answer. 65. Looks like a 3, doesn't it? 65. Make sure your teacher can read your answer, or they might think it's wrong. 1 more, crossing over the hundreds boundary, then we'll call it a day. 232 minus 51. 51's like 50 and 1, isn't it? So let's take away 50 and then take away 1. 232, take away 50, take away 1. Here's my number line, 232. Let's take away 50. Take away 30 first of all, gets me to 202. That's easy, I can do that a bit easily. I'll cross over the tens boundary tentatively, or the hundreds boundary tentatively. I'll just take away 10 at a time. 200 take away 10 is 190, isn't it? So that'll be 192. And take away 10 more, 182. I've taken away 50 there, haven't I? 30, 10, and 10 is 50. Take away 1 more. My magic line gets longer. Take away 1 more is 181. And there's your answer. Okay, so there's a few examples of adding and subtracting numbers like 9, 19, 29, 39, and numbers like 21, 31, 41, 51, numbers that are 1 either side of 10, and it's doing it using 10 to help you, and then adjusting your answer slightly. The two important things to do are to make sure you adjust in the right direction, so think about what it is you're adding and taking away. Is it more than 10 you're adding or taking away, or is it less than 10? Is it 1 more or 1 less? And the other thing to be careful of is when you're crossing over your hundreds boundary, or possibly your thousands boundaries, just make sure you go carefully, and make sure you're counting carefully in your head, and you're counting the right number of tens up and down. Okay, good luck with that.